Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamin. So, as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur. You can also follow the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur fan page and follow me on Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay, so apparently ScrewTube didn't send out the notifications. So let's just give it a couple of minutes for everyone to get in, okay? Hello, Ryan, AV the Great, Lamarcus, the L Boogie Speaks the Show. Terry Hinton, Twizzle. All right, Twizzle, shout out to you. Silent D, Derek. Derek says we missed you. Thank you, beloved, but Derek, I have been going live every day, okay? The Queen never stops. So when this channel was banned, I was on the backup channel, which you all need to subscribe to. So the next time I'm banned, if I'm banned again, you can go to the other channel and get your videos. So make sure you subscribe. Moderators, please put the link to the other channel in the chat, to the backup channel, the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show. Moderators, please put that link in the chat. And for all of you who missed me for a whole week, you can go on that channel and catch up on all the videos because I was going live every day, twice a day on that channel. That's why it's very important that you not only like and share and subscribe to this channel, but that you also subscribe to the backup channel, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show, because it never stops, all right? It never stops. Hello, Mr. Hotel. All right. D. Reese says, say it again, please. It's the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show. All right. Now, the moderators should be putting that link in the chat. Moderators, let's get it popping. All right. Hello, mommy. Marvin, Asha, Addictech says, I got it. Thank you. All right, beloved. All right. I saw Abolia in the chat. I saw you, beloved. Nicole. Okay, Silent D. So with that all being said, Silent D, that's the wrong link. You put in the link to the channel that we're on, beloved. We're on the original show. I need you to put the link to the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show, beloved. Okay? All right. Okay, Aeon said it's in chat. Thank you. Carl said, Carl is black with you. Thank you, beloved. All right, Carl, shout out to you. Vince, I am from the UK. Said the Queen has plenty of channels. That's right. Okay? And with that all being said, everyone, please make sure, if you have not been receiving your notifications, please make sure, double check to make sure you're still subscribed, okay? Because, you know, ScrewTube unsubscribes people, honey. You know, they're good at doing that. All right? Aeon said, oh, so you can't see me. Aeon, cut it all out. Now, you know I can't see everybody all at once, beloved. So, hello, Jawara. Jawara said, I thought I told you that we won't stop, okay? Okay, thank you. D. Reed says, I just subbed. Thank you, beloved. All right. Derek says, got it. Thank you. All right. So listen, beloveds, listen. I'm always working hard to bring y'all the news. So by hook or by crook, we're going to get this news out there. So if they get rid of the Queen on one channel, because, you know, haters, right, who don't like the Queen speaking truth to power about them and their nefarious actions, flag people's channels to get you banned. This is what people do. So pay attention. Make sure you always subscribe to the alternate channel. All right. So you don't miss out on anything. Okay. So with that all being said, let's get into it because y'all know I'm already late. Sun kissed by the Most High. I see you, beloved. Patriot 420, James. Okay. Alvin. So listen, y'all know it is almost 9 o'clock. Now, y'all know the Queen don't have no business being on live this time of evening. This is time for me to be getting ready for bed. And so I'm going to tell you, y'all know I must really love y'all to be on here, honey. So, right. That's right, Sally. Tell them, pay attention to the chat. The mods will be posting things that you need to know in there. Make sure you also subscribe to the Queen's spiritual channel, Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. And we're going to be talking about some spiritual things tonight. We're going to be talking about that, okay, after we get this news out. Terry said, hardest working Queen on YouTube. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. Some might beg to differ, but I'll take what I can get. Thank you. All right. Sun kissed by the Most. I said, I thought I was too late. No, beloved, I'm too late. Okay. I have been working all day long, literally. Okay. I had errands to run. I had research to do. I had, you know, to get things ready for projects I'm working on. And then I had to get ready for this live. I had so many things to do, a myriad of things. All right. And for those of you Robert A. and Mr. Hotel, those of you who won the giveaway when I had the trivia questions, well, I'm sorry, beloveds, but I just mailed your packages off literally today. Okay. This was the first time I've had enough time to go and mail off those packages. Go to the post office. Hold on. Higher Ground said Vicky Popoff's minions. What? Not Vicky Popoff. Y'all are too much. All right, y'all absolutely too much. I absolutely cannot with you all. And so anyway, let's get into it. Don't y'all come here being nefarious already. Lord, y'all changed the lady's last name to Popoff. I absolutely cannot. Let me put on my spectacles because it looks like the chat's trying to act up. So I'm going to be having to look at it, glance at it every now and then from my phone. Okay. Thank you, Ayon, for the copyright disclaimer, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, let's get into it. D. Reed said they cheated. D. Reed, don't you start talking about. D. Reed says they cheated. I wanted a shirt. But don't worry, beloved. You'll have a chance to get one. You'll have a chance to get one, okay? Not to worry. Now, let's get into it. Let's get into it now. Let's get with the nefarious news first. I want y'all to pay attention. And so a black mechanic in Illinois is outraged after finding a racist blackface doll slipped into his toolbox. Let me tell y'all something. Now, I thought I can get petty sometimes with the best of them, but clearly the racists have me beat. Say what now? They're out here putting blackface dolls in someone's toolbox while they're at work. I mean, do they have nothing better to do? Obviously not. So let's talk about it because I absolutely cannot with racists. Here's what it says. So on Friday, KMOV reported that a black auto mechanic in St. Clair County, Illinois, is alleging that a coworker slipped a racist figurine into his toolbox. They say the African-American mechanic says a white doll's face desecrated in blackface was put in his toolbox at America's Auto Center in Centerville. This was reported by KMOV's Melanie Johnson. Now, they say the doll was all white and had been painted. They had just painted the face of it black. They went all out, honey. Donovan Hickman, the victim, said the initials WP was on it, which stands for white power. Now, the practice of blackface has a long and ugly history dating back to just after the Civil War era, with white actors painting their faces black in minstrel shows to dehumanize and stereotype black people. But, you know, some of them, like Laura Ingraham, when they get called out about blackface or someone speaks about it, they'll try to pretend they didn't know that it was racist, that it would offend people and all that, when clearly they know the history of it, all right? Now, the practice of blackface is something used to offend people, clearly. According to the report, America's Auto Center says they are investigating what happened and has implemented sensitivity training for all the employees. Here they go again. How many times, beloveds, do we have to hear them talk about sensitivity training and diversity training? At the end of the day, none of it works. You cannot train someone not to be racist and to be a whole hater. You just cannot do it. And the fact that they sit there and they wait for something to happen, then they want to start talking about this BS is just obnoxious and, quite frankly, nefarious as far as I'm concerned. Now, the company is also mandating diversity training and has offered Hickman a new position, although he said a different position is not going to fix nothing, and it isn't. So why don't they just, here's the thing, I want y'all to pay attention. Because, you know, I had something like this happen to me years ago, and I've told y'all about this, but, you know, I took them to court. Okay, I sued them and won. In fact, we didn't even make it to court literally because they settled out of court. I told y'all numerous of times the queen is very litigious, honey. I don't sit there and argue with wanton supremacy. I don't sit there and, you know, get physical with them. That's what I don't do because they love to aggravate us and provoke us until we get so angry that we lay hands on them and then we end up in jail facing charges and have to pay to get bonded out, pay for an attorney, pay to fight charges. Nobody got time for that. At least not the queen. So I hit them where they hated the most, and that's their pockets. Okay, and that's what we all should be doing. All of us who feel like we've been wronged, discriminated against, and all these things, and they're doing foolish things like this, hit them in the pocket, sue them, file a lawsuit, civil. Okay, that's all you have to do. Now, they say they are giving him a different position, but that's what they say, because that's what they tried with me. They said, oh, well, we'll just put you in a different position or on a different shift. I said, I don't want the inconvenience of having to work a different shift. I like first shift. I don't want to work second shift. Why should I be inconvenienced because he chose to be racist and hateful and to also sexually harass me? Quid pro quo sexual harassment. He placed me in a hostile environment. No, I don't want to be put in a different position, and I don't want to have my schedule changed. And the position they were putting me in wasn't really going to be any better as far as pay was concerned than the one I was already in. So do they think I'm stupid? But of course they think we're stupid. That's what they think. Pay attention. So with that all being said, he told them that's not going to fix nothing. And it isn't. They don't want to fire these people who are doing these racist things. You see, rather than fire them, they'll just try to appease you in some way so you'll just let it go. But don't let it go. Don't let it go. And here's the thing. The guy who did this to me, they didn't fire him. They didn't want to fire him, even though he was dead wrong. And even in their handbook of rules and regulations and policies, it clearly stated there was zero tolerance for sexual harassment, which he clearly did to me. And also racist things that he said. But you know what happened? As luck would have it, and I call it karma, they had to fire him 4 months later. They had to, because you see, he did something nefarious again, and this time he got caught by the people whom they were contracting with, okay, at the company, and the VP made sure that he was terminated, okay? So with that all being said, according to Hickman, he has been targeted in the past with one person greasing his door handle. I mean, who thinks of this? And another coworker giving him a lighter depicting a monkey with a banana. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. This is what they want you to do, beloveds. Let me show y'all this picture of this little ugly doll. They had the nerve. Terry Henn said, good, keep suing Queen. Oh, you know I will. You know I will. I'll take them right to court. That's the best place for them as far as I'm concerned. Other than jail, I'm just saying. All right. Now, see that right there? So childish and petty. It's so nefarious. So anyway, Jawara cut it all out. So anyway, they didn't say anything about firing that guy. Pay attention. Now they'd rather, I want you to pay attention to how they stay on code. They would literally rather pay for diversity training, which isn't going to help anyway, but they'd rather do that and then try to move the black person around and, try to throw them a bone. That's what they call it, throw them a bone, so they can stay on code and keep that person working. I mean, it's just all so ridiculous. Oh, so ridiculous. Anyway, let me continue because I absolutely cannot. So now let's talk about Trina, the rapper Trina. One of her relatives was killed. So let's get into it. And I need you all to make sure you're sharing these videos. Make sure you're liking. Very important that you like the videos. But not only like the videos, make sure you share them, beloveds. Because, ScrewTube, like I said, they don't always send out these notifications. They don't always do that. Let me pull this up on the screen. So, Trina's relative killed in a Miami shooting. Here we go. Likes up, everyone. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Collecting 5-figure paychecks for a few hours of work, helping me in your spare time from home. I'm going to.
A deadly triple shooting happening overnight in northwest Miami-Dade. Family and friends sharing a photo of the 17-year-old who died in that shooting. 2 others were injured. Local 10's Annalise Garcia joining us live now to explain what we do know about this investigation right now. Annalise.
Christy, Janice, 2 of the gunshot victims are here at Ryder Trauma Center recovering. We're learning a lot from police, but even more so from family and friends who were on the scene about the young woman who died. The victim of a fatal shooting in northwest Miami, family and friends shared this photo with Local 10, telling us they call her Sugar.
We do know that the woman who was pronounced deceased on the scene was there visiting. She didn't live in that precise area, but there's a lot that we're still trying to figure out.
Police say they received a call around midnight that a female had been shot in the area of Northwest 62nd Street and 13th Avenue. When they arrived, they found a young woman with gunshot wounds. Fire rescue later confirmed she died on scene. Family who chose not to be on camera say it was Sugar who was shot and passed away. They tell us she's a relative of a well-known Miami rapper named Trina.
2 men had already been independently transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital, also 2 suffering from gunshot wounds.
Family tells us one of them was Sugar's boyfriend.
For now, the victim is at the ER.
Sky 10 capturing the active scene of this triple shooting. Officers taped off several blocks as they investigated what led to the gunfire.
Someone knows what took place, and someone may know a little more. If you know that information, we're urging you to call us.
Now, when those 2 victims who are recovering here originally came in, they were in critical condition, but police say that they are now in stable condition. Now, we are working on gathering more information on these identities of these 3 victims. As soon as we know more, we will be sure to bring that to you. For now, I am live in Miami. Annalise Garcia, Local 10 News.
You know, these people out here just doing all kinds of nefarious things. Out here with all this shooting. Hey, Miss African Roots. Trina want her come up bad. Now, come on, let's not say that. I'm sure she didn't want her relative to be killed. Now, this child was only 17. That's also sad. But you know what? We have all these devils out here who have no regard for human life. They're just out here recklessly shooting. Some of them every weekend, every time you look up. And it's also ridiculous. Also ridiculous. So anyway, that all being said, you know, I heard those charges that Trump is facing. They saying they're going to stick. Just so y'all know. Just so y'all know. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, so let me get this other story up real quick. Hold on. Did I talk to you all about this yesterday? Y'all know I be telling y'all so many stories. I can't remember. Did I tell y'all about Trump's attorney? Hold on. I don't think I did. I meant to tell y'all this yesterday. Trump's attorney called New York Attorney General a black bitch. Did I tell y'all about this yesterday? Y'all let me know. Hold on. Let me get some of this stuff off the screen. I have too many tabs open. Okay, so I didn't tell y'all about this yesterday. Okay, good, because I meant to, honey, and I forgot. But y'all listen to this, honey. Yes, they say Trump's attorney called New York Attorney General a black bitch. Ex-legal assistant claims this in a bias suit. Okay, so let's get into it. Former President Donald Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, referred to New York Attorney General Letitia James, who has been investigating her client for years for evidence of suspected tax offenses, as a black bitch, according to a lawsuit filed by Habba's ex-legal assistant. Now, the ex-legal assistant, Nasaya Drayton, says that she was the only black woman whom Habba employed and is now suing her on various bias claims, including harassment and discrimination based on race. Okay, harassment and discrimination based on gender, constructive discharge, and unlawful retaliation. Now, Drayton also alleges negligent infliction of emotional distress and intentional infliction of emotional distress. So in the lawsuit, Drayton paints a portrait of an office culture where Habba and her partner loudly sing rap lyrics with racial slurs, and Habba allegedly makes causal, racist, and anti-Semitic remarks. Drayton demands a jury trial and wants unspecified punitive damages. Now, the Daily Beast first reported this lawsuit, which was filed on Tuesday in Superior Court of New Jersey, where Habba's practice is based. Okay, according to the lawsuit, Drayton worked for Habba between 2017 and 2019 at the Sandylands Ayets in Bedminster, New Jersey, where Habba served as the firm's managing partner. Now, Drayton says that she continued working for Habba between November 2021 and June of 2022 at the Trump attorney's firm, Ahmadiyyah and Associates LLP. The trouble all started, according to Drayton's complaint, during the second phase of her employment. Now, Drayton describes the first couple of months inside the office of Ahmadiyyah and Associates as a honeymoon phase. Y'all know what the honeymoon phase is, when somebody pretends to be all nice and sweet, and then later on you find out who they really are. You know, my grandmother always told us that when people come before you, they very often send their representative to greet you. Like, you know, the fake side of themselves, where they try to act like they all this, that, and the third, and trying to act like they're all nice and sweet. And then 6 months to 9 months down the line, you see who they really are. You're like, who is this? So that's basically what the honeymoon phase is. But she says that came to an abrupt halt as the firm's named partners, Haba and Michael Madayo, who is a co-defendant, chose to play and loudly sing and repeat rap music with sexually charged lyrics that was peppered with racial slurs. Haba and Madayo seem to be particularly enjoying listening to and rapping along with what is generally perceived and classified as gangster and hip-hop rap. So they really listen to hip-hop and gangster rap. Please. Y'all know they just wanted to play that so they can say those names or those racial slurs, right? What do they, anybody whose last name is Haba, I'm sorry, I cannot fathom them listening to gangster rap. How about y'all? How about y'all? Okay. Right, Ayon, I absolutely agree. Hostile environment, says Nebula. Yes, quid pro quo. That's it. When they put you in a hostile environment. Absolutely. Now, goes on to say that Haba and Madayo seem to particularly enjoy listening to and rapping along with what is generally perceived and classified as gangster and hip-hop music to energize, motivate, and otherwise pump themselves up to prior to making court appearances. What? Can y'all imagine? Now, they're sitting up in there listening to gangster rap with all these cuss words and all this foolishness, right? And slurs to boot. And then this gets them pumped up so they can go into court. Who they think they are? Snoop Dogg? Ice Cube? I'm just asking, but let me continue, because I absolutely cannot. And so, as the firm's only black employee, Drayton said she felt shocked, embarrassed, and humiliated. So, according to the lawsuit, the songs they played and sang included Rough Riders Anthem by DMX, Ninjas in Paris by Kanye, and Jay-Z Rich Ace F, okay, by Lil Wayne, and Lollipop by Lil Wayne. Now, in some of the songs played and sung by the defendants that day, the word ninja and its variations was used as many times that the plaintiff, Nasaya Drayton, it was used so many times that the plaintiff, Nasaya Drayton, was unable to keep count. According to the lawsuit, the uncensored version of the slurs is what they were singing. Now, the song similarly contained highly sexual content and portrayed women as mere objects of male sexual gratification. Now, Haba, who represents Trump in a variety of lawsuits, filed her first notice of appearance in the case involving the New York Attorney General's investigation on June the 4th of this year. The lawsuit suggests that her anger toward James flared within months. In April of 2022, Drayton claims that Haba lost a legal battle against James's office and then raged into the office saying, "I hate that black bitch." That's what she said. So what she said, went into office, fired up. See, I want to tell y'all something. This doesn't surprise me at all, because here's what I learned as a kid. Here's what I learned as a kid growing up. I remember when I was growing up, my mother and my stepfather used to tell us, you know, that these people will come and pretend to be your friends and all this. And then as soon as they get mad, the first thing, not the last, not the second nor the third, but the first thing most of them will call you is a ninja. Well, case in point proven. All right. Arthur said, I'm not surprised either. Absolutely. Now, the outburst is emphasized in block capital letters and bold-faced text in the lawsuit. Though the complaint doesn't identify the defeat that allegedly provoked the comments, it asserts that it was a loss before the New York Court of Appeals, the state's highest court. That court did not issue a ruling against Trump in April of 2022. In a lower court that month, however, Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron found Trump in contempt and imposed a $10,000 per day fine for failing to comply with James's subpoena. Now, Haba did not hide her indignation toward the judge that day, telling reporters outside the courtroom that the ruling was inappropriate and that the fine was crazy. She later accused the judge of turning the proceedings into a public spectacle. Trump and Haba ultimately resolved the matter by paying $110,000 in fines and supplying detailed affidavits relevant to their searches for the subpoenaed information. Y'all remember this? Well, they wanted Trump's tax records, and he was doing everything he could to make sure they didn't find them. Now, the Court of Appeals ruled against Trump in his fight to avoid testifying for a deposition months later in June. Whatever sparked the alleged remarks, Drayton claims it caused her to suffer panic attacks. Now, the next month, Drayton says Haba threatened her with her job in a May 2022 meeting. During the meeting, she says, defendant Alina Haba told plaintiff Nasaya Drayton that she sensed that the plaintiff seemed unhappy, that she was isolating herself and had withdrawn from the team. Well, I would have been isolated and withdrawn too. Y'all sitting up there using N-word here and N-word there, and here an N-word, there an N-word, everywhere N-word, and I'm the only N-word there. Please, who wouldn't? And so anyway, says that she sensed that she was unhappy, isolating herself, and withdrawn. Now, defendant Alina Haba shared that she initially believed that plaintiff Nasaya Drayton would be a good fit for the office. But based on the plaintiff's recently charged demeanor or changed demeanor, she was beginning to think that she had made a mistake in recruiting her when she found out that the girl wasn't cool with her using racial slurs. Okay, even if she was just merely singing it in the song. That's when she decided it's time for her to go. And that's another thing they'll do. Now, defendant Alina Haba even indicated that if things did not improve, she reluctantly would have to let plaintiff Nasaya Drayton go, basically threatening to fire her. Now, this is when Drayton said that she sent Haba an email with the subject line, workplace environment feeling uncomfortable, which refers to Haba's alleged remark about James and the rap music played in the office. Now, the email also claims that Haba recommended at a staff luncheon that Drayton order a chicken meal because you people like fried chicken. That's what she said. As if they don't like fried chicken themselves. Hey, but anyway, after Haba received the email, Drayton says that the Trump lawyer exploded that she could not be racist because I'm an effing minority myself. I'm not white. Now, that's another thing they love to try to play a trick with us on, honey. They try to use that to gaslight and deflect as if they can't be racist. So first of all, who said that all the racists were all white people? It's numerous people who are racist, not just white folk. Please miss me with this. Haba Ristra, whatever her name is. Okay, please. Aeon said mad because they can't cook. A Skeletor fan said, and a watermelon salad. I cannot. Right. So, in a footnote, Drayton took umbrage at Haba allegedly telling her that she was trying to be offended. She said, honey, I'm not offending you. You're just trying to be offended. Ain't that something? I want y'all to pay attention. Because a lot of times these racist people purposely offend you. And then when you complain about it, they say, oh, you just want to be offended. First of all, that's so stupid. Who wants to be offended? I'm sorry. Nobody does, right? Drayton says that she not only found this comment to be patently offensive, but felt that her supervisor was embracing pejorative racial stereotyping, namely that African Americans are hypersensitive. That's what they love to say too. Oh, you're just too sensitive. What are you getting so upset for? I didn't mean any harm. This games they play. Lazy opportunists also said, implying that there were lazy opportunists who sought out any opportunity to file frivolous lawsuits in order to avoid work. That is what they like to say, beloveds. They always want to say that you're trying to get a check when you call them out on their racism and you talk about filing a claim against them and all that stuff. Now, according to the lawsuit, Drayton did not feel comfortable taking the matter to the firm's human resource manager, Randy Ingram, who is not named as a defendant. Drayton claims that was because Ingram took no corrective action after Haba openly called a fellow attorney a cheap you. What? A cheap you. That's what you call somebody. Clearly anti-Semitic. Now, in addition to her alleged private remarks quoted in the lawsuit, Haba has also attacked James on the right-wing channel Newsmax as unhinged and obsessed with the former president. That's what people say. You know, sometimes when you come after people and start exposing them and calling them out of their BS, they want to say you're obsessed. Nobody's obsessed. They just want you to do the right thing. Trump, give up those tax documents. That's all he had to do. So Trump has attacked James and Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who are both black, and investigating him. And he investigated him as a racist. This is what Haba said. Haba did not respond to Law and Crime's email requesting a comment. I bet she didn't. And so anyway, so crazy. So what do y'all think about this? And then they have the lawsuit filed against Alina Haba right here. Lewis Tillman Law Offices, Jacqueline Tillman Esquire. So let me tell y'all something. Now that lady knew she was being racist. She need to sit down somewhere. She knew she was being racist. I would have said she should have played rascast nature of the threat to see who's sensitive. I am so through. Patriot says sunlight is the best disinfectant. Wiggy Smalls is in the building. Okay. Terry Hinn says, I hope she wins. I do too. Justice says cringe-worthy. Miss James going hard after Trump, says Alvin. Let me tell y'all something. At the end of the day, yes, she absolutely has been going hard after him. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. You know, when people are being racist towards us, they want to sit there and act as though we're the problem, as if we're just making this all up, or we're just trying to look for something. We're trying to nitpick. That's because they don't want to accept accountability. And I want to tell y'all something, whether y'all know it or not. You know, racist people are narcissists. They are. Racist people are narcissists. They absolutely are. They want to accept no accountability for the bullshit they do. They want to just, you know, sit there and act like everybody else is the problem and all that. Now, listen to this. They say the criminal case against Trump is getting stronger. Federal and state prosecutors may soon need to decide whether to bring charges against a former president and current frontrunner for the Republican nomination. But first, there's some things they need to do. Now, they say there is a reason that there's been a list of articles and newsletters about Trump's potential criminal responsibility for his effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election. The investigations evolve, new evidence emerges, and the emergent evidence is increasing Trump's legal risk on two key fronts. First of all, did he incite the attack on the Capitol on January the 6th? Second question is, did he engage in a criminal scheme under Georgia state law to reverse the results of the presidential election there? Now, to understand the incitement ground, we have to begin with the law. Federal law imposes criminal penalties on any person who incites, sets foot on, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States of the laws or the laws thereof, or gives aid to comfort thereto. Yet this provision has to be read in light of the very strong First Amendment interests at play. Now, Americans have a right to call for even violent civil unrest unless such advocacy is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. They say this is a very high bar to clear, but Donald Trump's conduct just might clear it. Now, since the mob actually launched its violent assault during and immediately after Trump's speech, urging them to march to the Capitol, the imminence test is plainly met. Thus, the key question is whether Trump actually intended for violence to result. If you think the answer is obvious, after all, he whipped the crowd into a frenzy and sent them straight to Congress, then think again. The case is closer than you might think, they say. Trump's legal defense primarily depends on statements and tweets that urge the crowd to march peacefully and patriotically, and then later to remain peaceful and stay peaceful. Ordinarily, such calls for calm would end the criminal inquiry. How can you prosecute a man for incitement when he calls for peace? That's the question. But that's not all he said, and that's not all he did. Okay? They say that he summoned the mob, promising the protests would be wild. There's evidence that he knew the crowd was armed, and he told the same crowd to fight like hell. Other speakers urged trial by combat and asked the crowd to sacrifice their blood, their sweat, their tears, and even perhaps their very lives. Well, that sounds like violence to me, Trump. Now, I don't know how you're going to get out of this one. Then, when the attack was underway, he inflamed the crowd by tweeting that Mark Pence didn't have the courage to do what was necessary. As the mob of his supporters assaulted the Capitol, former President Donald J. Trump sat in his dining room of the Oval Office, watching the violence on television and eat popcorn. They didn't say he was eating popcorn. I just threw that in. But anyway, they said he sat watching it all go down on television in the Oval Office and choosing to do nothing for hours to even try to stop it. An array of former administration officials testified to the House committee investigating the January 6th attack in accounts laid out on Thursday. Now, in a final public hearing of the summer, and one of the most dramatic of the inquiry, the panel provided a panoramic account of how even as the lives of law enforcement officers, members of Congress, and even his own vice president were under threats, well, Mr. Trump could not be moved to act until it was clear that the riot had failed to disrupt Congress's session to confirm his election defeat. If I was standing in front of a jury, I'd ask them to ponder the question. If Trump truly wanted only a peaceful protest, why did he passively allow the horrific violence to unfold? Why was it ultimately up to Mike Pence to skip the chain of command and call out the National Guard? Well, I'm going to tell you like this. Trump did the same thing they all do. I want y'all to pay attention because they're really going in on Trump. And what he did, yeah, he absolutely did everything they're saying as far as I'm concerned. But isn't this what they all do? I want y'all to pay attention. Now, they're sitting up here. It's really hypocrisy at its finest. Because the thing is this. Buckhorst says, sounds like Rico. Well, could be. But here's the thing that I find interesting because they're sitting there going in on Trump, who clearly is nefarious, no less. But they're going in on Trump and saying that he was calling for violence or he didn't do anything to stop the violence. But do they ever? I'm curious. Do y'all not remember that these are the same people who went to the Capitol in Michigan and threatened the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, over mask mandates? Say what now? I mean, these are the same people that go to a game and when their team loses, they go out there and start fighting, turning over cars, like fires, breaking down street lights, violence. So I'm sorry, but Trump did what they always do, resort to violence. I find it interesting that they expected Trump to call for peace when they never call for peace themselves. The only time they talk about peace is when they want us to do it, when we're out there protesting against some social injustice. Isn't that when they start calling for peace? But they never call for peace when they're upset about things. They never call for peace when they're mad. So why would they think Trump's going to do something different than what they always do themselves? Make it all make sense, could you please? No, they can't. So goes on to say the mob was supposed to march to the Capitol. It was supposed to stop the certification. Why would Trump call it off when it was doing exactly what he wanted it to do? Now, again, there are strong defenses to any prosecution for incitement. Trump calls for peace. His calls for peace may convince the Department of Justice that an incitement prosecution is simply too tough to mount, in spite of all the additional evidence outlined above. Now, or Trump's calls for peace may convince a judge that the high standard of incitement simply isn't met. Well, but that doesn't mean that Trump is safe. Now, to understand why, let's turn briefly to Georgia, the state where evidence of his alleged criminality has always been the most compelling. They say this week, Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis designated the 16 Republicans who signed certificates falsely claiming that they were Georgia's presidential electors to be targets of her criminal probe into efforts to overturn Georgia's presidential election results. Now, the reason for the target designation is not hard to see. Georgia election law not only makes it a crime to solicit election fraud, it specifically criminalizes willfully tampering with any elector's list, voter certification, number list of voters, ballot box, voter machine, direct recording electronic equipment, electronic ballot markers, and so on and so on. Indeed, as the criminal investigation plays out, the fake elector scheme may well be the most clearly illegal element of the entire effort to overturn the election. Their designations represent a series of concrete overt acts that move beyond verbal bluster about election fraud and raise the question, who initiated, approved, or even directed the whole scheme? And so anyway, they're coming for you, Trump. That's all I can say. What do y'all think about it? Vince I said the Capitol Police let the Trump tards. Okay, yeah, they let them come on in and do what they did. It looked like they were opening up the gates in some instances, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's just what I saw. So anyway, At the end of the day, mental stimulators said presidents are selected. Yes, they absolutely are. And that's the thing they don't want anybody to realize. That's why they have the Electoral College, okay? That's why even if the population votes, disproportionately for one person, if that's not who they want, they'll say they won in the Electoral College because the other person won by the Electoral College votes. It's the illusion of inclusion. Right? That's just what it is. And I want you to pay attention. All you have to do is Google right now. I mean, when I tell you anything, just look it up for yourselves. And in fact, when anyone tells you something, look it up for yourselves. Do your own research, right? In the Bible, it says, study to show thyself approved. Don't just listen to what I tell you, but look it up yourselves. Because here's the thing. If you Google right now, why was the Electoral College created? Well, it's basically because they didn't want the population to be in control of who's in charge of this country. All right, or i.e. this corporation. Really, it's what it is, a corporation. And they didn't want the people to be in charge because they felt like the people didn't have enough sense, weren't smart enough. And that, in fact, they might elect some dictator who would just take things into his own hands and do whatever he wanted, which is clearly what Trump was trying to do, if you ask me. I'm just saying. So with that all being said, that's why they have the Electoral College. So if we all vote for somebody who they don't want in the office, well, that person's not going to get in the office. They're going to just say, oh, the Electoral College gave this person all the votes. All right, so that's what they do. So anyway, with that all being said, let me show you all this video. Karen got all mad and upset and butthurt because some little black kids were winning a wrestling match. Now pay attention. Y'all know they give black kids hell sometimes. Do y'all remember the little black boy who was playing football in middle school? He played from 6th through 8th grade. And in fact, they felt like that he needed to sit out the last year because he'd won so many times. And they felt like, he was MVP. He was making all the home runs and all the touchdowns and all that. And so they wanted someone else to win. And in fact, just so you all know, that's why they now give out awards to everybody. You get a trophy, you get a trophy, you get a trophy. So nobody really wins. And that's just teaching your children to feel entitled and also making them be sore losers. And, and really not making them want to work as hard as they could to get to the top. Because if everybody's going to get a trophy and everybody's a winner and nobody loses, how does that make sense? But that's all started because of black kids. Pay attention. Okay, so let me share my screen. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you in advance, beloveds.
Karen gets upset because black kid is winning wrestling match.
We still need a representative from the following wrestling clubs: Clinton, Downriver Wrestling Club, Metro Detroit Region Affiliated, Motor City, Pontiac Huskies, Team Idaho. Always hosting those teams will be paid for the tournament immediately.
Let's see it. 3-point, Diddy. 3-point. Back up.
She came on the mat and grabbed the kid.
Who did?
She grabbed our kid.
Karen gets upset because black kid.
Now, did y'all see that? Karen literally ran out there and grabbed that little black child. You know what she should have done if she was that butthurt and bothered by the fact that her child was losing? She should have run out there and grabbed her child off the court. Off the mats. She ran out there and grabbed her. Let me tell you something, honey. I'm so glad that was not me, because you already know. You already know what time it would have been. I mean, the nerve of her. Now, she's that angry. But see, like I said, this is the reason why everybody gets a trophy now. Okay? Pay attention. This is why. Terry Henson, stand up for your child. That's right. Absolutely. Okay? These people are just doing too much, some of them, honey. They just absolutely cannot stand black folk. All right? They just cannot stand us. Some of them absolutely cannot. Karen really lost it, honey. I absolutely cannot. So anyway, with that all being said, now, isn't Becky and Karen mad about that all the time? 2 pieces in a biscuit? Yes, absolutely. Okay? Grabbing my child. Oh, hell no, says mama. Right. Who does that? Ooh, I'm telling you, honey. That's just bold right there. I mean, she's that crazy and that mad, honey. Just go get your child and take your child off the floor. Don't grab someone else's kid. What is wrong with you? Yes, Stacy, sore loser. Stacy said, I would have beat her ace touching my child, okay? Please. Loretta said, like Oprah said, you get a car, you get a car. Yes, absolutely, honey. Everybody gets a trophy. This is all so crazy. But anyway, Queen, we have another missing black child. Do you have the information? You have the information? Send it to my email. They must cheat in order to win, says Jawara. Absolutely, honey. This is also said, like, at the end of the day, teach your children to be better athletes. Teach them not to be sore losers. Teach them, good sportsmanship. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. That's just life. You can't always win. Like, it's nothing worse than a sore loser, honey. Rira Nutara said she would have gotten drop kicked, okay? Now, y'all know I don't condone violence. I do not condone violence. Don said, who is this Trina? Trina, the rapper, beloved, who used to rap with Trick Daddy. Yeah, her. Okay, Kenny said that's assault. Absolutely. I'll send it to your email now. It's in Chicago. Okay, yes, please go ahead and send it. All right, so I'll talk about that later. For right now, while I'm waiting for Silent D to send me the email about the missing black child, I'll discuss that later. So let's go ahead and get into this PowerPoint presentation. Okay, this is your spiritual vitamins for the day. Now, I'm just going to tell y'all, I'm actually promoting my spiritual channel, just so you know. All right? Just so you know. And I've actually given this information before, but it's been like over a year and a half ago. So we're going to go through it again. My child is not losing to Karen's devilish child. No way, says Vince, I am. Okay, and so with that all being said, everyone make sure you subscribe. There's a link in the chat. Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents More Than Meets the Third Eye, all right, where you get your spiritual vitamins. So we'll be on that channel this weekend too. Okay, so let me go ahead and put this PowerPoint up. And everyone like and share. Make sure that you like and share. Folk don't know how to lose gracefully, says October. No, some people absolutely don't. Absolutely don't. Brand Slayer said, copyright it all, Queen, because you know Wig is watching. Tara Henson said, I love the spiritual channel. Well, here's the thing, beloved. I can't copyright this because this isn't my work. This is some research that I studied years ago and have learned. I only copyright my own work, okay? But let me get into it because y'all are clearly nefarious. Okay, here we go, beloveds. Likes up, like and share. And this is part 1. I'll get into part 2 on tomorrow. All right. Let me share my screen. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Oh, and also Abolia Folletti. Beloved, I got your package. And I will be talking to you. Okay, I'm going to get in contact with you. Do me a favor and send me an email so I have your email address also. But I'm going to get in touch with you this weekend, okay? Vince I Am says, Notorious WIG, how are you doing, witch? Still up to no good, wiggy ways? I cannot. Let me continue. Lamarcus says, I'm going down through the videos on that channel. I'll be binge watching them tonight. Okay, beloved. Yes, make sure you binge watch the spiritual channel. Honey, y'all need to know this information. And guess what? I don't charge you $144 to teach it. Okay, and this is absolutely authentic information from scholars, okay, that I have researched and studied under, and some of it is some of my own that I've inserted, shall I say, in there with theirs. Okay, Ashley says, I'm almost done, Queen. That's good, because Ashley told me about a week or two ago that she was, in fact, binge watching that channel. Okay, me and Ashley had a consultation, and she told me she was binge watching that channel. Now you're almost done. That's good, beloved. Y'all make sure y'all go there and get y'all spiritual vitamins for free. Honey, you can't beat that with a bat. All right? Now, let me go ahead and share this PowerPoint presentation, and let's get into it, beloveds. Likes up, please. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me make sure y'all have this on the screen. Okay, there you go. Okay, so the Christ within energy. This is part 1. Y'all see how I spelled energy? That's because it's inside of you, from your inner self. All right, thou anointeth my head with oil. Now, in the cranium, there is the cerebrum. There's the claustrum sitting in the middle of the head. A secretion, which is where the word secret comes from, right? There's a secretion that comes from the claustrum. It's a brain fluid, which is an oil. That's why they say, thou anointest my head with oil. Now, in ancient times, this was called Christos, or a chrism, which is where they get the word Christ. It pours down the spinal cord. It reaches the sacral plexus. Now, this is next to the sacrum, which are 5 fused vertebrae bones at the tip or the bottom of the spinal column. The sacral plexus is connected to the sacrum and the fluid from which the claustrum pours down our spinal cords. Now, the claustrum is also known as the holy claustrum because of the sacred oil, i.e. the Christos. That's where we get the word Santa Claus from. The spinal cord is an extension of the brain and even does thinking. And I bet some of y'all didn't even know that. Now, the holy claustrum is also called the Santa claustrum, where they get Santa Claus. The fluid that flows from the claustrum is a sacred fluid. This is why we say Santa brings presents down the chimney. Because let me just say this. This oil comes from the claustrum, right? It is a sacred oil. It is like a gift from the Most High. So that's why they say Santa brings gifts. Now, the thing is this. This oil travels down a little tunnel that's within our heads and our brains, and it goes down the 33 vertebrae of the spine. That's why they have the story of Santa Claus, which comes from Santa Claustrum. They have the story of Santa bringing gifts down the chimney, because that little tunnel is like a little chimney, okay? It's really a story of physiology. The Bible is actually a manual of physiological regeneration. Now, each month, when the moon is in the sign where the sun was when you were born, pay attention. Each month when the moon is in the sign where the sun was when you were born, there's a germ or a seed planted in the solar plexus. The solar plexus also, by the way, has the same energy as the sun in the sky. That's why it's called solar plexus. And the sun gives off solar energy. Okay. Now, the solar plexus, which is right above the sacral plexus, this seed is planted there. Now, that germ or seed is the oil, the Christ, which is born in Bethlehem. That's where they get the story of Christ in the manger, because this seed or germ sits in the sacral plexus, right, which is known as Bethlehem. The solar plexus is known as Bethlehem. Now, the oil has to return from whence it came, which is in the center of the brain, where the claustrum resides. Now, as this oil ascends the spinal cord, the vibration of the oil increases. The oil is separated, and half of it goes to the pineal gland, and the other half goes to the pituitary gland before it then travels down the spinal cord. The pineal gland holds the electric portion, and the pituitary gland holds the magnetic portion. We have electromagnetic energy. Now, it then comes down the spine via the pingala and the eta nerves. It arrives at the sacral plexus and awaits for the germinating process of the seed, and this happens once a month or 12 times per year. Now, if we can transmute this energy and cause it to rise, it reaches the medulla oblongata and the pons, and the midbrain, which is the center of the brain. Now, it then crosses the vagus nerve or the pneumogastric nerve, a nerve that descends from the brain area from the pineal and pituitary glands. Hold on, let me check the chat. Let me put on my glasses. Hold on, beloveds. Vince I Am says, I had a really weird sensation between, by the way, my eyes, or between my eyes for days, and felt like it was being squeezed, and my left ear rang for a bit. Does anyone know what that means? Can't say that I do, beloved. Okay, so anyway, let me continue. So now the tree of life. Now, it's a network of nerves that feeds the stomach and the lungs. This network of nerves is called the tree of life. And so I want you all to pay attention to how everything in nature is what we are connected to. We are connected to everything in nature. Like when you look at the picture of the tree of life, it actually looks like these network of nerves that are within our own bodies. Okay? Abolia says, okay, wow, I'm learning right now. So let me continue. Now, it's a network of nerves that feeds the stomach and the lungs. This network of nerves is called the tree of life. Now, the ancients knew that this seed born in Bethlehem once a month is the Christ. You know, you're raising your Christ within, your Christ within energy. You're rising into your higher self, your God-like self, or your Christ-like self when you raise this energy. Now, this is what you need to do in times of spiritual warfare, which is what we're in right now, beloveds. Now, they knew, the ancients that is, they knew that if one abstained from sex during this period, the oil and the seed would be saved so that it could rise. So you have to practice abstinence during this period, okay? When the moon is in the same sign as the sun was when you were born. Now, it would burst through, if this were to rise, the oil of the seed, it would burst through the heart chakra and the throat chakra, and the oil would arrive with its higher vibration, raising your vibrations and therefore raising your consciousness. Now, because the oil has a very low vibratory rate, okay, because the oil, you know, it's going down the 33 vertebrae of the spine, so it's losing vibration. So when it's rising, the vibration increases. But with proper practice, such as meditation, proper breathing, good eating, and good peaceful behavior, we can raise this Christ, that Christ oil, until it crosses the vagus nerve at the top of the spinal column, the 33 vertebrae of the spinal column. That's why they say in the story, Christ was crucified at age 33. Now, the optic thalamus. So here's what happens. Once the oil reaches the very top, it reaches the optic thalamus. Now, this is an egg-shaped organ in the center of the head. Once it crosses the pneumogastric nerve, this is called the crucifixion. This is the allegory of the story of the crucifixion. Pay attention. It's not just the story of the crucifixion. It's actually a crucifixion that occurs within the cosmic universe and within your own body, within the brain. Now, the oil is not destroyed, but it's magnified 1,000 times. It touches the optic thalamus, and for 2.5 days, it remains there as if dead. Like they said, Christ was in the tomb, and then he rose on the third day. On the third day, it reaches the pineal gland. After these 2.5 days, it reaches the pineal gland, right? And then it illuminates the optic thalamus and the pineal gland. So you become enlightened. That's why people say a light bulb just came on in my head. A light bulb just went off in my head, because it literally illuminates inside of you. Therefore, you have then become enlightened. The optic thalamus was known as the light of the world by the ancient Egyptians and the Greeks. It was known as the light of the world. Who do they call the light of the world? Jesus is the light of the world. Now pay attention to how that story coincides with this. Physiological aspects, esoteric knowledge. Now, they knew this sacred oil from the colostrum that went to the pineal gland and the pituitary gland would ascend eventually. The enlightened ones amongst them were able to cause this Christ oil to ascend to the optic thalamus, causing it to become illuminated. When this occurs, millions of dormant brain cells awaken. These are your woke people, like the queen. Those people who have risen this energy, who have risen into their Christ-like selves, and the more you do it throughout your life, the more intelligent and awakened you become. And you have a chance to do it once a month. As I said, when the moon is in the sign of the sun, or is in the same sign as the sun was on the day of your birth. But you have to be eating right and all of those things for this to happen. So there are some things that are detrimental to the oil, which can destroy the seed, such as overeating, drinking alcohol, having sex at the wrong time. This is known as eating from the tree of life. God said in the Bible, do not eat from the tree of life. And that's why that's in the Bible. Because when you're eating from the tree of life, what you're doing is you're shortening your own lifespan. When you're overeating, drinking alcohol, being promiscuous, out here just sleeping around with everybody, doing all types of drugs and things like that, you're actually shortening your lifespan because you're in fact eating from the tree of life, which is the network of nerves within inside of you. Now, the serpent tricked Eve into eating the fruit from the tree. The ancients understood that once the oil was depleted because of improper living, the fleshly organism dies. Death results from using up all of the oil. So that means, beloveds, if you're living a risque life, if you're living a lifestyle that you don't include healthy habits and healthy eating and healthy living, if you're not taking care of your mental as well as your physical and your spiritual, if you're not doing the right things, then you'll use up all of this oil and you won't be able to regenerate it, and then the body dies. Now, the oil that descends from the cerebrum is also what the Bible refers to as the manna from heaven. Heaven means heaved up, and the head, the cranium, the dome, like the king dome, which is at the top of the head. That's where you wear a crown, because a king wears a crown, and the king dome is the head. They say two to the dome. They're talking about your head. If you actually were in a biology class in school ever and you looked into the top of a skull, you turned it upside down, the skull up inside of there looks like and is shaped like a dome. When they talk about the story of Jesus in the Bible, the crucifixion, they say Jesus died on Mount Calvary. The word Calvary comes from the Latin word Calvaria, which means the head. They also talk about Golgotha. Golgotha is used in the book, in the Gospels of Matthew. Now, Golgotha means place of the skull. The reason they use these terms is because they're actually talking about these are allegories, hidden stories. These are stories with hidden meanings, shall I say. So they're talking about a crucifixion that occurs within your own body. When you raise this energy, it's rising up the 33 vertebrae of the spine. That's why they say Jesus died when he was 33. It stops on the optic thalamus for 2.5 days, and then it moves on. And then afterwards, it illuminates the pineal gland and bursts through your heart chakra and your throat chakra on the 3rd day. Now, the heart area, or I'm sorry, I skipped something. The dome was known by the ancient Egyptians as the heavens. They're talking about the ancient Egyptians called the heavens your head, your brain, the cranium. When you're high vibrational, you're in heaven. When you're low vibrational, you're in hell. That's the heaven and hell of which the Bible speaks. These things are of allegories. And if you notice in the Bible, when Jesus spoke, he spoke in parables. Now, the genital area or the private area, right? That's known as Sodom and Gomorrah. This was the area of desire or carnal desire or carnal pleasures. The Garden of Eden and the land flowing with milk and honey is upstairs, up towards the brain, up in the brain. The pineal gland produces the honey and the pituitary gland secretes the milk. The land flowing with milk and honey that they talk about in the Bible. Because here's the thing, when that sacred oil is secreted from the colostrum, It separates. Part of it is electric energy. Part of it is magnetic energy. Part of it is female energy. Part of it is masculine energy. Everyone contains masculine and feminine energy. Everyone contains electric and magnetic energy. That's why we have electromagnetic energy. So with that all being said, when this oil splits in two, half going to the pineal gland and half going to the pituitary gland, well, part of it takes on the consistency as honey. And the other part takes on the consistency as milk. And so therefore, when the Bible speaks of the land flowing of milk and honey, that is when you rise into the fullness of yourself. When you have risen this energy and the oil has been secreted, and now you have these gifts, you have these awakenings, you have this spiritual foresight, this spiritual knowledge. That's the land of milk and honey. Now you're in bliss because you've risen into a higher level of consciousness. Let me check the chat real quick. Sky gods are not for everyone, says Patriot. Absolutely. Okay. Otis says, not gonna lie, I feel like I'm knocking on the spiritual door, but mess up a lot in my life to open it. That's okay. You can always correct yourself, beloveds. Okay. So with that all being said, let's talk about the etymology of some words. Now, I've told you many times about the word pandemonium. Pandemonium is known as the capital of hell. The Greek prefix pan, which means all. That's where they get the first part of it, pan, meaning all. The Latin daemonium, meaning evil spirit, literally means abode of all demons. In the book Lost Paradise, it was the high capital of Satan. Satan means adversary. Remember, in the Bible, Satan's name was Lucifer, but when he fell from grace, when he was cast out of heaven for defying God, he became God's adversary. So therefore, his name was changed from Lucifer, which means illuminated, the enlightened one. It was changed to Satan, who becomes the adversary. Now, pandemonium in Lost Paradise is the capital of Satan and his peers in hell. Spiritual, Latin word spiritus, also the Latin word spirare, which means breathe, to blow and to live. When God breathed into Adam's nostrils, Adam, A-D-A-M, is really atom, A-T-O-M. Inside the spirit, inside of the word spiritual is the word ritual. And I saw Wig, somebody sent me a screenshot where Wig used this recently. I'm sure she learned this from me because I haven't seen anybody else teach that besides myself, and that's just facts. But spirituality, spiritual, the word ritual is in the word spiritual. And y'all know I've told y'all this before, like 2 years ago. Now, here's the thing. When you are a spiritual person, you do in fact perform rituals. But I'm talking about you perform rituals, holy rituals, like smudging rituals, where you remove the negative energy from your body, from your atmosphere, right? You may perform full moon rituals when you absorb the energy of the moon. You may use that for a powerful time of manifestation, right? This is what these energies are supposed to be used for, and this is what these rituals are we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be doing incantations. We're not supposed to be invoking spirits. We're not supposed to be conjuring up things. You see, some people, nefarious as they are, they take these spiritual practices and mix them with demonic, satanic witchcraft, black magic, and they call themselves magnetic witches. The reason they call themselves magnetic witches, beloveds, is because they're taking the information, the spiritual knowledge about the electromagnetic energy or the electric energy from the pineal gland and the magnetic energy from the pituitary gland. That's what they're doing. And they're calling themselves magnetic witches because they're mixing spiritual practices with low vibrational, dark arts and things of that nature. You perform rituals in church even when you take communion. Now, Spirituality involves recognition of a belief greater than oneself, something beyond just being human. You see, we are spiritual beings living a human experience. That's why spirits and energy are the same, as I know that we also borrowed. Spirits and energy are the same. So that is why energy can never be created nor destroyed. It's only transferred and transformed from one thing to another. So that's why when you die, when your avatar no longer exists, it goes back to the dust from which it came, the shell that encases our spirit and our soul. The spirit lives on. It has eternal life. You have eternal life. You see, the spirit goes into the spiritual realm from whence it came. Now, something beyond just being human. It tells us we are part of a cosmic or divine nature because we come from the divine source. The 5 elements of spirituality are earth, wind, fire, air, and space. Now, that is all from part 1. That is all from part 1. We'll get into part 2 tomorrow, right? So energy is perpetual, says Patriot. C stands, we should never be so caught up in the, hold on, let me read this on my phone because the chat seems to have frozen. C stands says, we should never be so caught up in this life or be addicted to this physical world. Where you go afterwards is what you should look forward to. Absolutely. Absolutely. And don't think that you'll go to a heaven or hell, because heaven, you see, here's the thing I want y'all to pay attention to. I need y'all to grasp this. Okay. Fu Manchu says, original queen of peace. Thank you, beloved. So Lamarcus asked the question, hold on, glasses back on. I see some questions coming. Lamarcus says, so are you saying we lived many times due to energy? Yes, that's what I'm saying. We have lived many times. We come back again and again. And here's the thing. Kay Ellis says, Queen, you speak the truth. Thank you, beloved. Okay, absolutely. Abolia says, I wish that Queen was my school teacher when I was in school. Ashe. I love how she breaks it down. I'm very grateful for her now. Thank you, beloved. And I'm grateful for you. Vince I am from the UK says, thank you, Queen, for the spiritual vitamins. Always helps me so much with my spiritual journey. You're welcome, beloved. You're welcome. Kelly says, heaven and hell are conditions of the mind. Absolutely. Paris says, Dick Gregory talked about this. Yes, absolutely. There are many scholars who talked about these things. That's where I learned it from. And that's why no one should be selling you this knowledge, okay, and webinars. They should give it to you absolutely for free, because at the end of the day, it's not theirs to sell. That's all I'm saying. But let me continue. You see, here's the thing, beloveds. You know how some people who oppress us, some people who are confederate against us, some people who plot and scheme to commit genocide upon us. You may ask yourselves, when they teach us or taught us and our ancestors about Christianity, and they said you have to be, free of sin, you have to be forgiven and all these things in order to get to heaven, and if you don't, you'll go to hell. And you may ask yourselves, well, why do they themselves, these people who are hateful and wicked and racist and want to commit genocide upon us, why don't they worry about going to hell? But they tell us that we have to be forgiven and all of these things in order for us to go. And you ask yourself, why don't they worry about it? Well, the reason they don't worry about it is because they know, but don't want you to know, that heaven and hell exist within you. Your low vibrational self, right? That's hell. When you're low vibrational, think about it. You even speak it. We say, I'm mad as hell. When you're mad, that's low vibrational, right? I'm angry as hell. I'm sick as hell. That's low vibrational when you're sick, right? You're not happy. You're in despair. You can't be at ease. You may have a dis-ease. You're putting yourself in hell. I'm hungry as hell because you don't have food, a lack of food. You're not happy. That's low vibrational, right? So you literally put yourself in hell. Hell is a state of mind, a state of being. That's why I tell you all the times on the spiritual channel, keep your vibrations high. so that you're heaved up, right? So that you're high vibrational, that you're in heaven. Think about when you're happy, the happiest moments in your life, when you're enjoying things, you're not worried about things, you're not stressed out, you're not fearful, you're not angry. When you're high vibrational, aren't you in heaven? You're happy. You're excited. Life takes on a different perspective. You walk around with your head in the air. But when you're low vibrational, you tend to hold your head down. When you're sad, you hold your head down. When you grieve, you hold your head down. It's the pull of gravity. You place yourself in either heaven or hell. You also can allow others to place you in either heaven or hell, because some people are low vibrational and energy is contagious. So if you're around low vibrational beings and people and stay involved in low vibrational situations, then you're putting yourself in hell. You're giving yourself hell, right? Funny thing is, pay attention. The Hebrew word, the word school in Hebrew means hell. And we send our children to school every day. And then we wonder why there's people that are racist to them, why they're picked on, why they're taught foolish things that aren't truth, why the books, the textbooks have lies about our history, because you're sending them to hell. That's why it's best to homeschool them, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? So with that all being said, we'll get more into this tomorrow, but I just wanted to give you all just a tidbits of what I teach on my spiritual channel. You know, real, truthful, honest, spiritual, metaphysical, esoteric knowledge from the Most High. You see, we are all gods, for we are born of the Most High. We are one with the universe, because the universe is made of melanin, which we are made of melanin. The universe is carbon-based, and we are carbon-based. All right? So, with that all being said, oh, you're welcome, Aeon, beloved. You're welcome. So, with that all being said, the word universe really should be spelled with Y-O-U in the beginning of it, because you are in the universe. Another thing to think about is this. The Most High was so perfect in his design of the earth and of us that we are directly connected to all things in nature. For example, if you cut open a carrot and look at it, it looks like the shape of an eyeball. And they say carrots are good for your eyes. That's why. If you look at a stalk of celery, it looks like the femur bone, which is the biggest bone in the body. And it's good for your bones. If you look at grapes, they look like a woman's ovaries. And if you eat grapes, the women, that's good for your ovaries. If you look at red wine, which is made from grapes, is good for the blood and even the heart. In moderation, of course. Don't want you to be a wino. But at the end of the day, TLS is cauliflower for the brain. Yes, it looks like a brain. Also, walnuts. Look at a walnut. It looks like your brain. It's good for the brain. And also, tomorrow, we'll likely talk about how people say, I had a gut feeling. Your gut has a brain all of its own. If you look at the intestines, they look similar to your brain. That's because they are a brain, beloveds. That's why when you don't eat, your stomach knows to hurt. Okay? Your stomach is giving you a signal that it's hungry. And that's why, because the stomach actually has a brain. So with that all being said, Curly Girl says, good teaching, teacher. Thank you, beloved. KJ Bush says, talk about it, Queen. Thank you. So with that all being said, you know, at the end of the day, the devil mixes lies with the truth to confuse you. And some people want to confuse you. They want to give you false knowledge because they're false prophets. And they are not fully awakened. If they were, they would not be doing such things that are nefarious. If they were awakened, they would be teaching you real spirituality, real things from the Most High's teachings. Left here by our ancient ancestors, the Egyptians, the ancient Cometians. The Greeks also taught these things, but they learned it from our ancestors, the Egyptians. Okay? So with that all being said, everyone please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. Share this video. And also don't forget to follow the Queen on Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur. You can also follow the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur fan page and follow me on Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay? And so as I said, we'll delve into this more so tomorrow. The devil reveals himself, says TLS. Absolutely. Janice says, thank you, Queen. Love you. And I love you right, Black beloved. Okay, so everyone enjoy the rest of this lovely evening. Be sure to each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive and constructive, never destructive. Be the change that you want to see and be the evolution that you want to be. With that all being said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. And until next time, beloveds, I will talk to you all again soon.
In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations, I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of